Hello, Zane Gang. Tomorrow's the big day for the takedown. I hope to see you in the stream. We're going to have a great time smacking that takedown right away. There'll be a video for you guys too. But if you guys would like to check it out live, Twitch is in the description of this video. Go follow and we will get it. Hello, Zane Gang. I know you're all so excited for today's video. We will be making a new Zane build, something I've just thought about, actually, like out of random. I'm like, hey, what if we made a build where we could use both abilities to damage stuff? I thought it'd be really cool, so I had a lot of fun making it. It took me a little bit, few practice trials. I had to build it a few different ways before I actually got it the way I like it. I know you guys are gonna enjoy it a lot. This is a long video because I'm just a crazy person and I really like getting into my builds, and it's hard for me to not keep going. So this is a longer video. I apologize about that. I know a lot of people don't like videos being too long, but I hope you'll enjoy it. I do keep it pretty entertaining in my opinion. So the way we're going to be doing this one is the way I like to do my builds. I'm going to be showcasing it a little bit. I'll show you a little bit of gameplay with this build, and then at the end of the video we will go over the build, and we have an amazing tip of the day today that blew my mind when I found it, and you guys are going to go crazy when you figure it out, and I hope it helps you out a lot. So let's get right into the video, guys. Here we go. We're gonna drop in on Haunt. See how this does on Haunt. We got 45% health and shield up. I think it'll do decent. It'll do pretty good. We're gonna run up close to him and drop the clone on him. That way we can help shoot cloning. Oh, we ran out of terror. That's okay. Yeah, we're gonna lose our sentinel soon. Perfect. So now we're getting our terror back. Now he doesn't know where to look. Nope. Nope. Wow, that dude turns fast. I'm stuck. There we go. Here we go. Now we can switch to the Fearmonger. Finish off this phase. I was living through those fire puddles, though. That was pretty cool. I just stood in there for a while. That normally kills me right away. There it is. Tested on Haunt. Here we are killing him now. We gave our Fearmonger to our clone, so he can help DPS us on this last stage. Getting through pretty quickly. Bang! There you go. That's Captain Haunt. There is our modifiers. Alright, I'm going to be showcasing this build on this section right here. This is one of the most annoying sections out of all the Proving Grounds in my opinion. Always give the Brainstormer to the clone. Especially with these Guardians, it's great. Just drains them. Oh yeah, I'll show the modifiers after we're done. Don't worry about that. Not neutral. We're negative right now. We got upgraded health. I think that's it. It's upgraded health, and then they're dealing a bunch more damage. You got a job to do. This is the way I like to rock it. Actually, no, I prefer neutral, but it is fun to play with a little bit of negatives too, as long as they're not too rough. There we go. They're spawning down here. Pop my clone down here so we can get a closer shot. Help him Brainstormer a little bit. Clean up with the Fearmonger. There we go. Actually, I want him right in the middle of combat right there. I want him taking everything for me. I'll just sit back and reap the rewards. Let's slide him in there. Yeah, normally I go down like 2 to 3 times in this section. Even with Cryo Zane I do. Just because it's a hard section to do. There's so many badasses and big enemies, guardians, stuff like that. I think it's a good test to build. There you go. That was a little bit of mobbing for you. Oh yeah, here was the modifiers. Right there. Alright, I don't even know if this is going to make it into the video or not, but we are on worst case scenario challenges, and we're going to try it out on Trant with this build. I'm a little bit excited. I'm sure it's going to go terrible, but it's going to be fun. Here's a real test of faith. We're going to kill him either way with it. Actually, it's not too bad. Like, well, yeah, you'd expect it not to do anything, but it's not that bad. And I don't even have my terror procced yet. I think we're still doing good damage without terror. Yeah, I enjoy this. New favorite build, maybe. I might be using this for quite a while. Yeah, now we have the terror going, so we're going to increase our damage dramatically. Well, we don't have synchronicity right now. This is worst case scenario. I'm definitely going to record you guys a neutral one for you, but yeah, this is worst case. Now we're probably just going to melt right through them since we're terrified and we have the fire fearmonger going. Look at the sustainment too. Like, I won't go down. It does not want to go down. Alright, let's go try it out with neutral modifiers. Alright, here we go. Here's our modifiers this time. We are a little bit negative still, but I wanted to test it with the shield regen rate, delay, and the health down. I think that's a good test of faith here. It's going to make the survivability down, right? And our gun damage is down. So it should be fun. Should be fun.
Give me an assist.
This isn't neutral how I actually wanted it to do, but it's still going to be a good test. Oh yeah, baby. Without the terror involved, we're just destroying him. Oh, we got a kill there too. I think our brainstormer might have procced someone. We need our terror. We need our terror. Oh no, it's not gonna proc quick enough. We can't get terror quick enough to drain the health bar. Now here's our terror coming. Check out this damage. Here we go. Now the fearmonger's buffed. We don't have our synchronicity up at all. So I guess the true damage would be terrified with synchronicity double up, but we're still doing good damage. Oh baby. This is my favorite build so far. Bam! Dead as hell. Alright, time to go over the mad scientist Zane himself. This build is awesome. My last 2 builds are the ones I've been using nonstop. I go back and forth between Cryo Tank Zane and Max DPS Zane. I go back and forth, back and forth. One for mobbing, one for bosses. One for mobbing, one for bosses. I keep doing that back and forth. Well, what's kind of cool is Mad Scientist Zane can do both. And that's kind of what you should have seen from the gameplay a little bit. And it's awesome. So I don't need to switch the builds up no more. I mean, I still will use the other ones. I love them. They're just completely proficient. This build is not completely proficient. It's kind of the jack of all trades. It does everything, right? That's the way it is. It's a master of none, but it does everything. It's not the master of survivability. It's not the master of boss damage, but it does a good job of both. And I really enjoy it. I think you'll find it that way as well when you try it out. So let's go over it. We're gonna go over the equipment first. Here we go. These guns are all anointed, and the gear is pretty anointed. It's pretty specced out to be perfect in my opinion. You guys could probably make the same kind of build without the anointments. Just try it out. You'll see what's up. So the Brainstormer I will be using has the weapon damage anointment, which is the increase. It's just a good gun. I always give the clone Brainstormer, always. Even like flesh enemies, sometimes I just give them the Brainstorm because it's great for crowd control, and it always has the shields off for me. Like in Slaughter Shaft or in Slaughter Star 3000, my clone will drain the shields off for me, and it's really nice. Next, we have the Fearmonger Fire, and it has the Sentinel lifesteal on it. It's good survivability. That's adding more. When I am doing some flesh damage with the Fearmonger, like when I was fighting Trant in those fights, my Sentinel was healing me if I was terrified. I mean, I wasn't really terrified in the Trant fights, but in the Proving Ground I was, and when I run Slaughter Shaft and Slaughter Star 3000 and stuff, my Sentinel keeps me alive while I'm holding the Fearmonger. It's pretty good. It's a good DPS weapon. It's not good if you're not terrified. Don't use this if you're not going to go the terror route like me. But terror is part of my build here, so you're going to want to use a Fearmonger. It's one of the best fire DPS weapons in this build, if not the best. The Arctic Star Helix is another really good high DPS weapon. It's a cryo DPS weapon. I don't know. It drops in other variants. People have told me the Helix comes in other variants. I have never saw one. I've only saw two, I think, 2-star Helixes, and they're both Arctic. And I got a really good anointed one. I have a terrified crit damage anointed one, so it just optimizes this build a little bit more. When clearing ads and stuff, I use this a lot. I go between these two weapons for ads. I go between the Fearmonger and the Helix just for some ad slaying. It does it pretty well. Now this last weapon it's really optional. You can run whatever you want. You can run the Corrosive Cutsman, Corrosive Crossroad even, Corrosive Lyuda even. You have so many just different corrosive weapons you could do. Corrosive Butcher, Conference Call. I'm using the Nemesis right now because it's pretty accurate. It shoots across map and it has a good chance of freezing with my anointment. And I think it also does cryo damage on its own as well. So it's a good weapon for this slot. The cryo weapon does a really good job for killing armored enemies, how it is, but it's nice to have a nice corrosive one too for big rigs, you know, the Hellhounds if you can't crit them. This is mostly for enemies you can't crit, right? This is what the corrosive slot's for. I do normally run the Cutsman I have over here, which has a Sentinel fire rate reload speed. But I was fighting Haunt a few times, so I was running the Nemesis to shoot across the arena. It's a good weapon for it. I'm using the Recharger with the ammo regen. Now the reason I'm using the Recharger, I think it is kind of important to the build. Because it's a really good shield to keep you topped off and sustainability. When I go over the build a little bit more, I'll explain more, but it's just a really good shield to keep you full. I mean, the Transformer is great and all, but the Recharger always keeps you full, and you kind of want to be full with this build to get your action skill cooldown time. So the Recharger does a great job. I have the Terrified ammo regen. That is important. You do need a shield here with ammo regen. It's extremely important to the build. If you're not going to use the Recharger, that's fine, but you at least need a shield that gives you Terrified ammo regen. It definitely makes or breaks this build right here. For the grenade, this is optional. It's just like the Nemesis I was running. You could put any grenade you want here, but again, it is important that it has Apply Terror on action skill end. To make this Mad Scientist, it is important to have the Apply Terror here. It doesn't matter which grenade you're using. The Surge is cool. It's radiation. I do have a few other grenades. I'll probably switch in between the Epicenter, Fastball. I haven't fought a Hex one yet, but a Hex would be cool here. I mean, you can rock anything. Just make sure it applies Terror on action skill end. It's very important. These two can be flip-flopped too. There are grenade mods that can give you ammo regen, and there are shields that can apply Terror to you. They can be flip-flopped. You just need both of these attributes. Doesn't matter which one gives it. You just need both of these attributes. For the class mod, this did take me a little bit to decide on what I wanted to put on for a class mod on this build. Just to add to the damage a little bit, I did go with the Infiltrator. It kind of takes the survivability out in a way because it breaks your shield, but the Recharger just instantly comes back anyway, so breaking your shield to Infiltrator is kind of irrelevant. But in the moment that you are running around without a shield, you do get that increased weapon damage and movement speed, which is included into Fight for Your Life. So if you ever do go out into Fight for Your Life and you don't have your clone around, you will have increased movement speed and weapon damage, which does help out a little bit there. Some more sustainability. This relic is very optional. You can run anything you want. I'll be using the loaded dice maybe sometimes. Victory Rush is my favorite though. The Victory Rush will make it so you have movement speed and damage after you kill a badass. So that's great. I mean, what more does Zane want? I mean, he wants the movement speed and he wants the damage, and that's what we're doing with this build. So you're gonna get that extra movement speed and damage when you kill a badass. The cut purse is completely irrelevant. Just get a nice Victory Rush. Doesn't matter what's with it. You could get the Cryo Victory Rush. That'd be pretty good. The Icebreaker Victory Rush, I'm sure it's called. And it would combine with your Arctic Star Helix. That might be something I look for in the future. It has the extra shotgun damage, the extra melt chance, and the extra action skill cooldown rate, which is great. It just helps synergize with the build a lot. I mean, everything here is synergizing very well all together. even better than some of my other builds. I've never had a full loadout that synergizes such perfectly, or so perfectly. I mean, it's actually pretty cool to see. But I am getting more and more end game, I guess. I don't know if I'll ever reach end game, I guess. I'll never be finished, right? We're always going to be improving. So here's our builds we're going off of. It is a movement speed build. It's mostly max DPS Zane with a little bit of extra attributes. So all of our damage off of this build is coming from violent momentum, and our class mod is buffing that, and that's also why we're running the infiltrator. We want that extra gun damage from violent momentum to keep stacking, which means you never can stop moving. You'll notice in the clips I used, I don't stop moving for anything. You have to keep damaging. You have to keep running around. Getting cryoed kind of sucks because it will decrease your damage dramatically, but you can live through it. After the cryo's gone, you'll keep dealing damage. It's just everything here is just basically damage on this tree. This is the little bit sustainability you will need. I normally don't run Salvation. I actually don't like the perk much, but for this build, it makes it pretty insane. Max DPS doesn't use it, but with this build, it does add all that sustainability in here. It keeps you alive. You know, you're dealing really high damage, so while you're dealing that, Salvation's keeping you alive and topped off. Amara has skills like it too. You just keep overwhelming the damage to stop you from dying, and that happens to me a lot, I feel. We're having lots of grenades pop off here too. It's kind of partially a grenade build, but it doesn't matter too much. Again, you just need the terror grenades. So our clone's giving us grenades, our sentinel's giving us grenades, and we're passively throwing off grenades. We're going to go a little bit more off there. This skill is really important. Death follows close. It makes it so kill skills last longer and they do more, which is great because Salvation's a kill skill. We have violent speed's a kill skill, so we're running around, reload speed. It's just great. This all synergizes well with the movement speed. On our sentinel, we are rocking the static field to break shields and keep your shield a little bit topped off, right? So it's giving you some more sustainability, but I like my abilities doing shock damage. It's just the way I prefer to do it, especially when I'm mobbing, because I don't want to have to go from shock to fire, shock to crossroad. I don't want to have to do that. I like some passives doing it for me, right? I like the passives taking the shields off for me so I can clean up with whatever flesh dealing weapon I'm using. So the Sentinel does a good job of breaking those shields, and just the rocket pod for a little bit extra damage. You could rock bad dose if you want, but this is kind of ability damage build, right? A little bit, since we're running two abilities that damage, so I put the rocket pod on. You could try out the ordnance if you would like. Bad dose. I wouldn't suggest the cryo. It doesn't really mesh with this build much. That's more for the cryo Zane. I don't know. It doesn't add nothing. In the green tree, we specifically only put 5 points into adrenaline just because I always do with every single build, and it makes it so when our action skills end, we have them back in less than 5 seconds a lot of the time. I mean, Sentinel is like around 8, I counted, I think, but Clone sometimes is 3 seconds, sometimes is 4, 5, you know. It just makes it so our action skills are always up. For the last tree, which the last tree is doubled agent, this is the most important tree of the build. This is where everything's coming from. Sustainability, action skill time, damage, everything is here. This is where a lot of the mad scientist comes from. So we're not going to go over the whole thing, of course, but like I said, your clone will be throwing out grenades. You'll regenerate grenades from this skill down here, pocket full of nades. You'll throw out nades. So there's going to be a lot of nades in this build. It would be best to have a good nade on, but again, all you need is one that can apply terror. It's still going to do good damage no matter what grenade it is, because it's probably going to be legendary. I mean, purple ones work too. There is some pretty crazy purple grenades out there. Just get a good grenade, and it's going to deal extra damage with all these passives. You're passively dealing damage here mostly. It's not coming from your gun. So this build's not really coming from your gun for damage. It's coming from all your passives and your gun. So you're relying on all these passives to proc, all these grenade damage, your drone to deal damage, your clone to deal damage. Just all these passives together are all just going to overwhelm and become one big damage source, you know? It's the build. It's not just you. With our class mod, we did get a little bit extra movement speed here to proc with the movement damage. Doubled agent or double barrel is a really good skill. That's what makes it so our clone gets our weapon, which is most of the time a brainstormer. Now with the passives, it was a little bit of a debate on what I wanted to do here. Again, I wouldn't ever rock a binary system on this build. It doesn't exactly mesh. I don't know if there's a build I'll ever really use that, but it doesn't mesh. You're not trying to freeze stuff here. So I went with this one, which will give it so when my clone takes damage, it'll restore my shield for some more sustainability, right? You could go with which one's real to get your clone to take the aggro away, but that's not really what we're doing here. We don't want our clone to die either, you know. We want us both to stay alive and be out there and deal damage. So I did go with the digital distribution, so we can both stay alive. It'll keep us both alive, so we're both sitting there pounding our weapons off and dealing the damage, because we're kind of working together on this build. This is a good solo build, but it also works with people too. I ran the Slaughter Star 3000 with it earlier and it did good, and I didn't even perfect it all the way. That's what taught me a few things I wanted to change about the build, and I think it's pretty crisp and perfected right now. The good thing you could run too if you wanted to was the Doppelbanger. If you wanted to kill your clone, like, you know, you played him in the last area of the proving grounds and his cooldown time's not done yet, so you want to kill him. That's about the only time you'd use this. I don't highly suggest it, because you want him out most of the time. You don't want to be killing him. The only time you want to be killing him is when you did leave him behind, but I wouldn't really be rocking this. But you could if you wanted. If you do find it kind of annoying that your clone's back there, I think you need to learn to use them at the right times and switch them around, because you can switch your clone around when you hit the action skill again. So that's why I place my clones in certain spots. You know, I'll run up to the boss and I'll swap with him so he gets a little bit closer so he can deal the damage. That's the reason I run those passives, just for our sustainability, to keep us both alive throughout that fight. And you will be rocking drone and clone. This is a fun build. A lot of people have asked me to do it for a while, and I just really wanted to do it today, and I'm actually impressed. It's probably the build I'm gonna be running for a while. I definitely think I'm going to take it in the takedown tomorrow. It should be fun. So if you guys need a new Zane build to try out, test this out. You got one more day before the takedown. I think you guys will really love this build. Now let's go into the tip of the day.
Dead's tips to not be dead.
Alright, so Dead's tip to not be dead today is a pretty good one, and I know you guys will enjoy it. It kind of blew my mind when I figured it out. I did figure it out on my own with a little bit of practice. And it's awesome. It has to do with applying terror to yourself. So when you give yourself terror, if you don't know what terror does, terror makes you very inaccurate, and it kind of sucks. But I'm sure most of you know when you run a weapon that has a terrified anointment, it actually makes it so you have no accuracy loss, and you just hone the terror and you use it to your advantage. So that's very nice. But when you have a weapon that doesn't have terror, it does kind of suck, doesn't it? And you have to rely on getting a terror weapon. Actually, that is not the case. Look at my brainstormer here. So it's a normal anointment, right? Well, I have him terrified right now. Look at how inaccurate I am, right? I'm shooting all over. Look how big my crosshairs are. Well, if I put on a shield, which was in this build video, if I put on a shield that gives me ammo regeneration, look what happens. Look, I am honing the terror again now. You do not need a weapon to give you the terror honing ability to make it so the accuracy is back. You can just use a shield. Any shield that gives you damage, fire rate, projectile bonus, health regeneration, reflect, any shield that hones the terror will make it so you lose your accuracy depletion. So that's pretty cool. Thanks for checking out this build video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up button. It helps me out a lot. If you haven't joined the Zane gang yet, I make a video almost every single day, so subscribe to the channel. You'll enjoy the rest of my content, I promise. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.